Welcome back to the Iraqi Dinar Info channel, your trusted voice for real-time revaluation breakthroughs, insider alerts, everything you need to profit big during the greatest wealth transfer of our time. Today has broadcast carried a weight unlike any other, because the announcement that has shaken the global financial landscape is not based on whispers or projections, on a live declaration from one of the most prominent and followed figures in the currency revaluation community. Frank26 has just gone live confirming that the RV is active. The revaluation is not a promise for the future or a distant forecast shrouded in uncertainty. It is unfolding now in real time, with confirmations that are making their way into every corner of the investor community. For those who hold Iraqi Dinar IQD or Vietnamese Dong VND, the gravity of this moment cannot be overstated. Many have spent years, some even decades, waiting for this day, carefully accumulating notes, studying insider reports, and holding on through countless cycles of speculation and disappointment. To hear that the RV has officially gone live is a validation of patience, belief, and determination, and for many it represents the chance at life-changing prosperity. Frank's live confirmation set the tone for the entire global currency revaluation community. At exactly EST, the announcement spread across forums, private calls, financial chat groups, igniting a wave of energy that few events in this space have ever matched. Frank has long been considered one of the leading voices in this arena, his broadcasts drawing thousands of daily listeners who hang on to every detail he shares. His message during this particular broadcast, however, was unlike the speculative updates of the past. His words were sharp, emotionally charged, no room for interpretation. He declared with authority that the RV is live. Exchange procedures have already begun, and the time to act is now. Struck his followers most deeply was the certainty with which he spoke. There was no hedging, no room for doubt, no suggestion that this was still a matter of timing or conditions to be met. It was presented as an undeniable fact, one backed not by chatter from shadowy sources, but by direct confirmation tied to official activity at the highest levels. According to Frank, the green light for revaluation was quietly issued overnight by officials within Iraq's central bank, as well as senior representatives from the United States Treasury. This wasn't simply chatter from back channels or a vague rumor that could be dismissed. This was described as a coordinated internal move that had passed the point of no return. The timing, he explained, was deliberate, designed to ensure that activation could happen with minimal disruption and maximum control. Gave this declaration added weight was the mention of a confidential memo circulated discreetly amongst specific groups and allegedly reviewed by insiders Frank trusts. This memo, according to his description, laid out detailed activation points for the Tier 4B group, the designation often used to describe ordinary investors holding dinar and dong, signaling that this wave of opportunity was not limited to governments or elite institutions. For the first time, every day, participants stood on the same starting line as major financial players. Frank also highlighted that these developments were not vague notions, but supported by documentation and activity that could no longer be hidden. He emphasized that the insiders who provided him information were not speculators, but individuals with firsthand access to the very systems moving into place. His broadcast left listeners stunned because the very scenario they had waiting on for years had now crossed from theory into reality. The chatter about when had been replaced with the confirmation of now. To those tuned in, it was not just another update turning point that signaled a new financial reality was taking shape before their eyes. During the broadcast, also brought attention to a classified redemption center bulletin, which he claimed showed live tradable screens for both the Iraqi dinar and the Vietnamese dong. These screens, he explained, were not filled with placeholders or testing codes, but instead displayed actual functioning values that banks were prepared to act upon. The impact of this revelation rippled quickly because it seemed to confirm what so many had only speculated about for years. According to Frank, screenshots circulating among insiders were captured directly from Tier 1 banking terminals at Wells Fargo and HSBC, adding a level of credibility that few in the community had seen before. On those screens, the Iraqi dinar was displayed at 4.86 US dollars per single dinar, an extraordinary leap that positioned it immediately as one of the most powerful currencies on the planet. This number became the focal point of excitement across forums and private calls as it matched long-standing theories while simultaneously exceeding cautious expectations for the Vietnamese dong. Frank described insider redemption platforms showing rates calculated per 1,000 units, a distinction that caused confusion at first among listeners, but was later clarified. While it did not reflect several dollars per one dong, as some had misunderstood, the shift was still historic when measured against the dong's past value. Frank underscored that these rates were not what someone would find through standard Forex searches or at a typical bank counter. Instead, they represented contract rates specifically designed for redemption appointments within secured centers. He stressed that Tier 4B participants, which included ordinary holders who had followed the RV narrative for years, were being given access to these very same rates. For many, this detail alone was validation that their years of holding and waiting had not been in vain. Frank26 did not stop at confirming that the RV was live. He immediately followed with a stern warning about timing and the narrow window available for those who wished to benefit. He explained that this was not an open-ended process where holders could casually wait until it was convenient. Rather, a tightly controlled and time-sensitive operation designed to move quickly. According to his sources, the exchange window would likely last no more than 7 days, forcing those with dinar and dong to act with precision and urgency. He emphasized that redemption centers were already mobilized on a 24-hour basis, with staff working in rotations to handle the sudden surge of appointments being booked. Reports coming in showed that activity was highest in key states such as Texas, Florida, and California. Some centers had already filled their schedules for the next 3 days within hours of opening, creating intense pressure for holders in those areas to secure as possible, as the message was clear that hesitation could result in losing the opportunity to exchange at contract rates, which were available only through private redemption appointments. Frank described how vetted lists and pre-registered individuals were receiving direct emails with appointment instructions, while others were relying on established intel channels to secure codes. Minded his listeners that walking into a local bank branch without proper scheduling would not grant access to these specialized rates. Access was strictly controlled and organized to prevent chaos. He also placed heavy emphasis on preparation, urging everyone to arrive with the correct documentation, including government-issued identification, proof of purchase for their currency, completed exchange forms where possible, notes in pristine condition, particularly uncirculated 25 Zalozen dinar and 100 Zalozen dong denominations. described as being processed most efficiently by redemption staff